Hello, everyone. This is Elizabeth Diamond with the Diamonds Forever 3113 show. 31, rawr, like taking dominion like the lion, and 13, Christ consciousness, your supernatural, natural self. It's May 14th, 2015. Elizabeth here having a conversation with Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
How you doing, Elizabeth?
I'm doing good.
The one thing we were talking about earlier, and I want to get back on subject matter. We were talking about the media and, using propaganda to remind people that we have to be nice to each other. I know it sounds kind of silly, right, Elizabeth? We got to remind people to be nice to each other. But
right.
that's kind of what we're doing in the movement. Everybody kind of is doing in the movement when we talk to each other, and we kind of bring subject matter to their like once we discover something about, let's say, good versus evil, right? We're using that same propaganda now with what we're doing on this show, because we're reminding people to be nice to each other.
Right. That's profound. It's like we're reversing, yes.
Reverse psychology, like mother, daughter you have children, you guilt the child into telling the truth, right? And guilting a child to tell the truth, the child learns the lesson about lying because the child doesn't like to feel guilty, especially lying to mommy or daddy, okay? So the reverse psychology on a child, now we're doing that with humanity. We're reminding humanity, you don't have to be you don't have to be a terrorist. Be a loving person, right? We hear terrorists all day, all day, terror, warmongering and terror-mongering, and be fearful of your Muslim or your black or your Hispanic or your crazy Italian, Dago Goomba. We're always be afraid of our neighbors, and I want to program people to love our neighbors. So that's
absolutely, that's we talk about who we really are. I always say we're our natural qualities are joy, happiness, harmony, unity, and so we're taking what's been intertwined in us so deeply, like anger, division, frustration, depression, oppression, and we're unwinding it to happy, joy, harmony, unity, love. Even when you say those words, those two groups of words, you guys can feel them in your essence.
When like we did the group hug earlier tonight, I mean, you feel and you hear people say they feel it makes them, even if it's psychosomatic, okay. But there's something in that psychosomatic feeling. They feel the group hug because it is all real. They could feel it with their mind. So if we remind people to be loving towards each other, it's like if you go to church, you go to church, you know what they remind you, Elizabeth, when you go to church, or my recollection of going to church is that I'm a sinner,
Yes.
They reminded me I'm a sinner, and I'm like going, listen, I know I'm a sinner. I remind myself every day, every time I did something stupid. I know I did something stupid. I don't want to go to church. So this is Church of Elizabeth and Daniel right now. I'm telling you, Elizabeth, I love you. You're a good person, and you have just forget yesterday because we're living in the moment. And churches and religious people and governments, they like to live in the past to remind us about the past, to how horrible the past was, just because if I can continue to remind you of the past, I give you an excuse or ability to get myself into your life today because I need to take care of you, you scared little child.
Yeah, and again, my intention, and I'm sure Daniel's what he can say, my intention is not to attack the people in the Christianity or the Catholic realm or the religion realm or the political realm. We've all been programmed in all those areas. The biggest one, education, government, religion, pharmaceutical, medical. Those are the big, strong programming. So our venture is to unprogram and wind it towards the love, harmony, unity, and getting along.
Put the power back into us, because the power is in the one. The power is in the people. The power always was in. The power is with all of us as the individual. if like you and I were talking the other day, we were talking about diet. Remember, we were talking about food that the human body should eat.
Diet equals metabolism. Metabolism equals diet.
Right, but diet is just food that the human body should eat, right? Same thing.
Yes.
Diet is metabolism. It's just food. And you and I were just openly sharing information, hopefully with the intent of somebody gaining something from the dialogue. Hopefully, like we talked about, one improves, we all improve. And it's literally, there's examples in our lives 50 times a day, as long as we're aware of it. And like earlier we were talking about suicide. And suicide is just an example of somebody who's lost all.
Oppressed, depression, feels like they're a sinner.
But is there anything after suicide? No. It's the total ultimate loss of all hope, because after that human vessel is no longer breathing in this 3 dimension, it's it. So after suicide, after death, and I'm not talking that the soul doesn't go on. I'm just saying that soul and that 3D reality after death, it's such a fatal act of desperation. Because
you miss out on the experiences that you would have had if you would have cut your life off early. Yeah.
And who's responsible for that, Elizabeth?
We each are, each of us individually in each of our bodies. Yes.
The individual first and foremost, the individual, and then secondly, all of us, because we all created this reality that we're all vibrating in. And the people in her immediate supervisory location, her family, her friends, that's the immediate people of society and culture that were responsible for not seeing her and not coordinating with an individual, and then they ultimately take the ultimate way out of desperation. And that's sad, because we are so much more capable of doing so much more, and for us to get to a point where we can't communicate with each other, that's sad, Elizabeth, when I think about it.
Yes, and I want to add to that the opposite, because we're unwinding, and, it's been wound up, the programming, and now we're unwinding the program. So what Daniel just said about, suicide and the depression, and that's the ultimate, well, what we're going into with these energies, so I want to encourage people that may be feeling that way, the ultimate of where we're going is bliss, ecstasy, joy, happiness, getting along with everybody sharing with everybody not judging anybody, and just having fun. So that's a sample of the unwinding that you could be, right?
And when you're at your most desperate hour, instead of you just turning the lights out permanently, take, like we did the breathing exercises, put yourself in a position where you could take a time out and breathe, and get out of your environment and get some help. And help isn't professional. It's just literally go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody, and keep this in mind, folks, and this is great for everybody, because humanity might be at a low time, and let's agree we're at a low time, and let's agree we're at the lowest point that we can go. We're there. We only have one place left to go now, right? What goes down must go up.
Must come up.
Must come up. So we're going up, Elizabeth. So
up and away.
Right. So that's why, it's sad that people get depressed, and they get lonely, and they make that ultimate decision for themselves, So we, as diamonds, like the facets, are going to shed some light on people, and we're going to do it in all our own different, unique ways. And the eclectic people out in the world, they're not just Americans, they're not just Chinese, they're not just Russians, they're not just English, they're not just Korean. We are everything. All these countries are different types of souls. And that's what's such an amazing thing about where we're at, Elizabeth. There's a smorgasbord of people that need to get information and need to be told they're loved in different languages.
Absolutely. Now, Daniel wanted to bring in today a subject regarding a movie, but before that, let me just prelude that. So what we just had that discussion about regarding deep programming, where it's been wound into us, and how now we, maybe here and all other aspects around the world, little sparks of fire starting, are unwinding that deep programming to go into our supernatural, natural selves. And so one of the big, I forgot the other big programming venue was in the media, the mass media in Hollywood. So Danny wants to talk regarding that.
Right. I used to work, you remember, I always say there's reminders, and all you need to do is just wink at me, Elizabeth, and I know you do on the phone, is I used to work in the cable company, and what's kind of funny, one of the perks when you work for the cable company is you get all their products free. All channels, whatever you want, free. So you have access to everything, right? And it's just kind of the perk when you work for the cable company. Well, and I was a facility manager, so all of my buildings had cable. And I had cable in offices, we had cable on everything. So I'm very used to multimedia, and I know what's critical. And one of the things the marketing department always told me when we worked with different HBO and all the Showtime and the cinema, it's all context. Context. It's not the carrier. It's never about hardware. It's about subject matter. The media is incredible. The media, and we are propagated by propaganda all day long. It's amazing, Elizabeth, from the time that we wake up in the morning when we turn the radio on or the television, somebody is having some sort of influence over who we are. You ever feel that way, Elizabeth?
Yes, a lot of, especially this last 5 years in our awakening, when you watch it, you can see that.
Right, so you kind of feel like they're selling you on something. You feel that way too, right? I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Right. Sorry, right? I'm muting out a little bit. I'm going to let you talk. Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So, when we put ourselves in a situation, and now we have smartphones and tablets, everybody is tied to the internet. Children have their faces, their text messaging, their friends, their peer group. Everybody is using this technology, and on an unconscious level, this technology is fundamentally shaping who we are on an unconscious level. We, as the captain using this technology, can steer us to a website or to a particular television program or a particular newspaper. We have the choice to put that information in front of us. And then as we get the information, we have to tear it apart in our heart and soul and figure out what of this information resonates in with us, okay? We in the Western world and culture have been bombarded for way too long, and I'm saying for 50 years, of just death, destruction, murder, hateful, God-fearing things. We've been perpetually had this stuff programmed into us for far too long, and it's hitting us it's hitting our consciousness on an unconscious level, and it's really affecting society in a negative way. Now, if we flip the apple cart over, Elizabeth, okay, and change our programming, okay, if you're vibrating in fear, change the channel. If you are afraid of the sky falling, put yourself in a different position. So the sky, if it falls, it can't harm you. We control our minds by how we allow information to flow into our minds. We are adults. We don't let the information scare us. You see a picture of a spider. Some people who fear spiders will just look at an image of a spider. It's literally like putting a live spider in their hand. And you ask yourself, what is wrong with that person versus this person? We all process the 3D reality differently. Some people, you put the picture in front of them, the reality is based off of their experience with the spider. Maybe as a child, a brother or sister chased them with a real spider, and for the rest of their life, all they do, they have PTSD, and all they remember is that situation. So we, as the entity, have to be careful not to put ourselves in a situation where we allow propaganda to take us out of our real realm of who we really are. Because we're all breathing quietly, and we're all peaceful, Elizabeth, and we all get to that place, we're all in our center, we all found our center spot, and we get to go back to our individual oneness as the individual. When one is harmed, we're all harmed. When people start to calm down in a community, or when people start to calm down in a particular period of time, because there's always that one day a year, I notice, that time of the year is Christmas time, Elizabeth. The 13 days of Christmas. That period of life when it seems everybody seems to be vibrating a little bit differently. And I love picking on Christmas because Christmas is a joyful time of year, Elizabeth. People seem to be nicer towards each other. And it seems like that as soon as New Year Eve comes and everybody gets their drunk on and New Year's Eve, and it seems that everybody goes back to their ship as normal. They go back to hating themselves. They go back to feeling desperation. They go back into their old ways. And I reflect back, what happened on December 24th and December 25th? Everybody in humanity was vibrating in this joyful time. Right now it's May, it's springtime. But 5 months ago, Elizabeth, I was vibrating in peace, love, and harmony. Well, one of the secrets that I have, I cheat every single day, Elizabeth, because to me, this 8-year-old boy, for 8-year-old Daniel, every day for me is Christmas Eve. Every day for me, I have that anticipation of waking up as a little boy, going downstairs from my parents' home, going downstairs into the rec room where the fireplace is burning, where the Christmas tree is there from the night before, and anticipating a new day, new presents. Every single morning I wake up my eyes, and I'm going, all right, what did I miss? I'll jump on my cell phone, or I'll speak to my parents or friends or family members. What is going on? How is your day? What's new? Every day has the potential for all of us of being Christmas Eve, because we don't know what's in those presents, okay? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I have no clue. And one thing that helped me, Elizabeth, and I know we had this conversation the other day, you're following the same suit, but we're all coming around. I stopped watching television about 5 years ago, where I pulled TV out of my life. And when I worked for the cable company, because everything was free, I got addicted to cable TV. I got addicted to having all that knowledge. I felt like having that knowledge and having all that stuff around me was a positive thing. It made me feel smart. It made me feel smarter. What I didn't realize, all of that stuff was actually affecting me because it was taking me away from who Daniel really was.
Can I stop you right there a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to just make that point. That was a beautiful story. I wish I put more detail in there about how your day is. Every day is Christmas Eve. I want everybody to think back on meditate on their Christmas Eves when you were a kid, and how that feeling you felt. And that's a winding to where we're going. And Dan was talking about the winding that we've been winded up with the propaganda and, what he just said. But remember, Christmas Eve, man, did you feel that spirit in your heart, that joy, that anticipation of opening the presents? Santa Claus is coming. Well, I propose to you, Santa Claus is right inside you. You are Santa Claus, and we are all Santa Clauses for each other. So, and we can talk more about that, but I just wanted to put a point on those two things. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a Christmas in childhood, Elizabeth, I remember, where my brother had opened, he had snuck down, coming from a large family. I remember my older brother one Christmas, he snuck downstairs, he carefully untaped the presents, Like he literally untaped the presents and looked inside of them and then taped them back up. Okay? And then my brother woke us up and told me what he got for Christmas.
Oh no!
And some of my brothers found out what they got because they followed suit. Okay, and I remember that. I remember that Christmas, and I refused. I refused to do it. And I told them, I said, I don't. You're going to ruin it because I don't want. I go. That's the whole surprise. Even if it's all junk, right? Or we always knew we were going to get socks and underwear. All right, we always knew we were going to get a brand new package of socks, and we knew we were going to get a brand new package of boys' briefs. Okay, because growing up in a big, large family, a lot of gifts that you were given had to be gifts of necessity, right? Because my parents didn't have a lot of money to throw around on gifts, so we had to be given gifts to each other. So we kept Christmas in our house was really for the little ones, right, who believed in Santa Claus and stuff.
Right.
But once you're over 4 or 5 years old, Christmas was gift giving. So we always knew my mother was going to give us socks and underwear, right?
Well, Daniel, I propose. I'm sure most every family got socks and underwear. Their kids. And I have a little story to share. Funny. I have a little story to share when you're done. Yes.
I'm almost done. But when my brother, those gifts are a silly gift, but the bigger gifts, Elizabeth, to have it shared with you and you lose the surprise, it ruins the holiday. I don't want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I want to be in the joy of tomorrow, but at the same time, I want to be optimistic about tomorrow. And tomorrow, I'm going to get the Red Ryder BB gun. I'm going to get the ultimate Christmas toy that I wanted for whatever silly reason as that child, So that's the joy of Christmas.
Yes, and so again, we're sharing these Christmas Eve, the child that you felt like on Christmas Eve, because that's what we're going into. That's what we're already embarking on. That's what we are experiencing, some more than others. So on Christmas Eve, let me bring in another aspect. My mom and dad were divorced, but my dad would come and get us every other weekend, or he would take us on holiday trips, but he would come and pick me and my sister up every early evening, and we would drive like an hour and a half on Christmas Eve to my grandma's house. So we all look forward to that, to meeting the family and grandma and spending time. And you remember the big dinner she made. You remember Christmas Eve where we all gathered in this little house and excited to open all the presents. And going to grandma's house, that's special, right? You remember all those things, the big porch, the chairs, your grandma's house. Remember that, and being with family, on Christmas Eve, and your special things you did on Christmas Eve together as a family, like we drove out in the country because they had a manger scene with those plastic figurines that you'll plug in with the Star of David up there above. So, that's a child in you. Those are all the emotions, if you can go into those emotions, what Daniel said and I said as a little child, you were back then. That's what we're going into.
And I want to get out of the house now when it's Christmas time and go out in public. Recollection. When you're in public and you go to a grocery store or a convenience store during the Christmas holidays, or right on Christmas Eve or right at Christmas, people are friendlier, opening doors. People have a smile. People have a swagger to them about on Christmas. And yes. the swagger, my recollection from a childhood and even last Christmas, is the general population during the holiday season, but I'm specifically talking about Christmas Eve and Christmas, those 2 days. Even the people are depressed, but the general people are vibrating in a happy spirit, even if it's fake or if it's just a 24-hour sabbatical from their regular lives where people are more loving towards each other. If we can do that, if we can figure out a way after, going through all the holiday cheer and the gift giving and all that, if we can vibrate in a state like that, your World War I battlefields where the Germans and the French put their arms down and they trench warfare, they went across the battlefields and they started singing Christmas songs. I mean, that's true what they did out in the battlefield. If we could do this as cultures, as people on the planet, Elizabeth, if we could do it one day of the year, right? If we could do it one day of the year, why can we not do it 13 times 28 plus one day of the year? Why can't we do it every single day of the year?
Absolutely, and let's go across the world. Let's talk about each culture's, each people's holidays, and they feel that same feeling. So if we can do it, 2 or 3 days of the Christmas season out of the year, we can surely wind ourselves into that every day of the year. What you just said,
right.
Yes.
Yeah. So in order, because we're here to try to help each other, right? If you feel that way, Elizabeth, as your brother and your fellow human being, I would ask you, what are you feeling? What are you fearing? What's causing you to fear that? And I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on television. But what Dr. Daniel would tell you to do is get out of your environment, change your environment, turn off your environment if you can, quiet your head if you can. Whatever tool that works for you as an individual, do that for yourself. Selfishly, do that for yourself immediately, right now. Do it, and you'll change your life. And if you could do that right now, you make your life better, you make my life better.
And what I would say is use the tool of the prayer, the law of one, and ask. Ask for help. If you don't know, ask for help from all of us humans on the earth and all the beings in the ethers. And that's a good one, too, for the highest good of all concerned. And any other tool you have. If you're at your lowest low, well, I've been a lot of times. I didn't know the prayer one then. I talked to God and asked. But you have not till you ask. Ask. You don't have to do it all alone. Ask for help. Ask for the angels' help and all that. So it's all good because we're all working together.
Elizabeth, have you ever had an argument with a loved one? And I'm talking about a significant other, a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Have you ever had a significant loved one that you've gotten in an argument with in the past, Elizabeth?
With my boyfriend,
During the argument, during the moment, during the passion of the moment, as the individuals are, because this is the question I'm going to ask you. In the heat, as you're actually having the experience and the emotions are flying and you're in the moment, have you ever come across or you used the term or heard the term in the argument with a significant other, I didn't know? Okay, and to have an argument and with people that are in your reality, in your world, and they didn't know, I'm gonna pick on or not. I'm gonna build off of what Elizabeth says. You have to ask. You have to ask your reality. You have to ask your reality in prayer for guidance and direction. Don't be afraid to pray out to God for wisdom. Wisdom. As a child, ask for that Christmas present. Ask for the toy that you want. You don't know, but you have to ask your universe for help.
Ask for strategy. Ask for strategy, wisdom, and revelation.
Right, but don't fall into the trap of getting into the argument with Elizabeth or Daniel and don't get into the argument, I didn't know, right? Because if you didn't know, whose fault was that, Elizabeth, right?
Mine.
You have to ask. Right, you have to ask. If I didn't know that you got upset with me because I cut you off the other day, right? Just say it. Mm-hmm. You got upset with me. But if I didn't know it because you didn't tell me, I'm not going to know it. Right?
Right.
We have to talk to each other. And if we all talk to each other as humans, there's nothing we can't get through. There's nothing we can't get through. There's nothing to fear. We should only be vibrating in joy. Every man-made problem there's a man-made solution. So most people are stressing about something that's a man-made problem. If everybody was stressing about the sky falling, like really falling, then we have something to worry about. But everybody seems to be stressing about man-made problems.
Well, what I wanted to just add really quick is when you're asking, don't just ask for what you want, but ask for strategy, ask for wisdom and revelation and motivation and encouragement. Because love yourself, you can ask for that, and you will get it. And it's a maximum efficiency, minimum effort, and it is
right.
good
and
stuff.
And we live in an infinite world, Elizabeth. Ask. Let God determine what you can and cannot handle. Let God determine that. Just ask and don't.
Ask for the highest good of all concerned. And if you love yourself, you won't ask for the good. You won't ask for the acceptable. You'll ask for the highest good. Don't you want the highest good?
Oh, Elizabeth, what came to me, remember the Rolling Stones song, you might not always get what you want, but what you'll find, you get what you need.
Perfect.
Rolling
That's perfect.
Stone, right? You might not always get what you want, but you'll get what you need. That's a famous Rolling Stone song. If you don't know it and you're younger than 40, go on YouTube and listen to it. It'll solve all of your problems. If you're crying right now, stop crying. You should have tears of joy in your eyes. The world is about to blossom. The world is, how you throw seeds in the ground, Elizabeth, and it's springtime, and then we get the May showers, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get this little tiny green sprout, right? A little sprout comes out of the dirt in the spring.
Right.
Isn't that amazing? It just comes out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, a little more sunshine and a couple more hours of the earth spinning, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you got a whole bouquet of flowers that came out of nothing. Out of nothing. That's how quickly the world changes.
Beautiful analogy, yes. Think about that one, because we're all seeds, and we're sprouting.
Just like that, it was overnight, boom, a bouquet of flowers. And the bouquet of flowers represents prosperity, joy, abundance,
peace, harmony,
abundance. There's so much, right? There's so much. Everybody is giving. Hence the movie. Hence, I'm preferencing the movie because the movie that we're kind of referencing, a great movie. Just a lot of people go watch the movie.
Don't
go watch
it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying.
Don't say it.
But it's all about giving. We give. We just. If the universe is infinite, right? Carl Sagan says there's billions and billions of stars, right, Elizabeth? If the universe is that large, right? I'm not saying abuse what we have, right? We got a Rolling Stone hat on. We don't want to abuse what we have. We want to use what nature has given us, but we don't want to abuse it. We only need what we have to need in the moment because we're living in the moment. We only need to use what we have. We don't want to hoard everything because then we're turning into the bad guys, the thing that we don't want to be. What good is it if there's 7 billion people on the planet, right? There's 7 billion souls on this planet, Elizabeth. What good is it if all the wealth that represents the wealth of the 7 billion souls on the planet, what good is the wealth if it's only held
by a few?
I'm talking about, and I'm not, the wealth is, we're the wealth, right? Everything in the world is the wealth. The wealth part of the world that I'm referring to, Elizabeth, is the liquid wealth, is the liquidity of humanity.
The wealth well that's in each of us, that's capped up, but some have it uncapped, some are uncapping it, and some still need to uncap it. Yes. Right,
but I'm saying the man-made wealth of humanity. The man-made wealth, the tool of wealth that humanity has at its disposal today, the man-made wealth is money.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
And it does none of us. As humanity, Elizabeth, it really doesn't do it's not doing me any good. It's not doing Elizabeth any good. I want to see flowers. I want to see beautiful rainbows of flowers worldwide. I want to see, when I zoom away from the planet Earth, I see a rainbow of the auric field coming out of the right and left side of the planet through the North and South Pole. The auric field coming off the planet, and it's a big rainbow. It's a big rainbow design of energy, and it's a big flower. And that's because the energy and the wealth, there's been a redistribution of wealth, energy, and knowledge across the planet, Elizabeth. We all get a little piece of it now. Because the problem we have right now, the wealth of humanity, the liquid aspect of humanity right now today, it's being coveted and held by a small minority of human beings, and it's really not doing us any good, Elizabeth. And
that's going to be uncapped. Yeah, I was just going to say it's going to be uncapped, and it's about to happen. I want to go back and if you can expand on a point, because there's so many people that don't understand living in the now, living in the moment. Expand on that in the simplest terms so everybody can understand. What does it mean to live in the now? What does it mean to live in the moment, spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally? What does that mean? What does it really mean?
Okay.
We're going into that. We're going into that, and the universe is pushing us into that. And we want to learn, and we want to flow with that in the easiest way, so you can have fun and not resist it, and so your life is really awesome. Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, we talked about Christmas earlier. Now imagine your little tiny hands, because when you were little, you had little tiny fingers. So when somebody put that box, that present in front of you, everything seemed bigger than life. And it's not that the present was bigger than life. It was we were little tiny people, right? Remember how little your fingers used to be, okay? The joy of opening up the present, you can visualize that as a child. Now, it's 2015. It's May. How do you live in the moment? This is what I do, folks. Fake it. Fake it, Elizabeth. If you're not living in the moment, and you're not vibrating and you're feeling low down, I want you to fake it.
Fake it till you make it, right?
No, not make it. I want you to fake it until you feel it, okay?
Fake it till you perfect it. Fake it till it becomes natural to you, and you don't even think about it anymore.
Let me finish it. You're changing it. Don't change it. Stop it. You're going to fake it until you feel it. Vibrate. When I wake up, like when I go for a run, okay, when I go to prepare myself for a run, I don't have to do anything, but I put my tennis shoes and I put on running socks, I put on running shoes, I wear running shorts to go for a run. I put on shoes for running, I put on a type of sock for putting on, I don't wear dress socks, like I don't wear black nylon dress socks. I wear an appropriate shoe or an appropriate socks, an appropriate attire, appropriate shorts to go for a run. I prepare myself to go for a run. And I prepared myself to go for that run because when I'm running, I want to be comfortable and I want to maximize my efficiency, okay, while I go on that run. I want to run in comfort. I don't want to hurt myself. So I want to do all those things. We talk about maximizing efficiencies and all those things power oneness. Okay. Take that same idea now because I prepared myself. I'm faking it until I feel it. Wake up in the morning when I get out of bed. I can't, because I'm living in that moment right now. Remember, we're going back to living in the moment. How do I live in the moment and go faking it till I feel it? I went to bed the night before, and I was upset with my spouse, my husband, my wife, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my job, my coworker, lack of money, whatever pissed me off the night before, okay? Because when I went into my time machine, I had to set it up. It's all about setting up my intentions before I get into my time machine. Because living in the moment is art. It's an art form, okay? It's a never-ending battle. It's an art form that the only person that needs to master living in the moment is the captain of your ship. It doesn't do me any good to have everybody around me living in the moment if I'm the jackass in charge and I haven't mastered living in the moment. Because we all must constantly do our due diligence to remember to vibrate in peace, love, and harmony. It's your responsibility to do your due diligence as the individual. Because what one does to themselves, What you do to yourself, Elizabeth, you do to me. And I don't like you for that. What you do to yourself and harmful to you, Elizabeth, affects me. Because if you do something that does something horrible to you, Elizabeth, and I lose you as my friend, it's going to affect me. I need you to vibrate in peace, love, and harmony. So here's my advice, Elizabeth. Whatever people go to sleep at the night before, whatever is in their life, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, because if you're vibrating in peace, love, and harmony and you're doing great, you don't need advice. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're vibrating in peace, love, and harmony and your world is running along great, you obviously have it figured out. Move along. You need no help. Move along. You do not need help. Move along. If you are struggling, okay, you are struggling, this is how you live in the moment. Before you go into your time machine, and I'm using time machine as your bed, your bedroom, your pillow, before you go to sleep at night, say a prayer to yourself. Wish the best for yourself. Set your intentions for the next day. Focus your intentions in a positive way the next day. And then go into your time machine. And then fake it when you wake up in the morning, because you're faking it. I wake up in the morning, I'm vibrating that I'm in peace, love, regardless of what I was dealing with yesterday. I have to be the strong person of heart. I have to be the captain that's going to vibrate in pure love and joy, and I'm not giving that job to anybody else. I must take responsibility for that aspect of me every morning myself. If I don't, Elizabeth, I can never expect myself to get out of the situation I put myself in. I must fake it until I feel it. I must set my intentions up prior to the experience. And by me faking it and me pretending that I'm vibrating in love and setting my intentions and getting myself there and trusting in myself, loving myself, your universe will reward you, and your blossom and your rainbow and your flowers and your best wishes and all your Disney dreams will come true. I guarantee it.
That's nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. All right, let's not talk any more about that subject matter unless you have one. I think we've pretty much covered living in the moment, because that's the key to it, Elizabeth. I can't live in your moment. You can't live in my moment. As much as you love, you know what I'm saying? If we're husband and wife, right? I still can't live in your moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
yes.
I have to fake it until I feel it. Don't wait for you're ready to jump off the bridge and commit suicide. That's way too far down the rabbit hole. If you're to the point like that, don't wait that long. Don't put yourself in that situation, captains. Don't do that to yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're getting too close to the rocks with your boat. You know, you're getting too close to the rock with your boat. Don't do that, skippers.
And I want to just add, if there's anybody that listens to this and you really, really feel bad, there's nobody to talk to, you don't know how to ask for help from, your brothers and sisters, the angels, really, you're downtrodden, come and talk with us on the Diamonds Call. We're all open for that because, we're all brothers and sisters. Come and talk with us. Dial in and talk with us. I'm serious because we love you all of you, everybody. And that's what and we're just being in action in process of a microcosm of the world going to turn into this. And it's got to start somewhere, so might as well start here, the Diamonds, and other places. Right, Daniel?
We're all here. I mean, I think about everything as an artist, Elizabeth. I'm going to be realistic. as an artist in creating something, I do think about death, right? Because death is just a part of the cycle, right? It's going
right.
to, everything in this universe has a beginning, a middle, and an end, okay? I just don't know where I'm at on my journey. I don't know where I'm at on my path in life, okay? If I don't know, I hold on to my power. I don't give it away. I can't give it away. If I choose to give it away, I do myself a disservice. So I hold on to it. And that's kind of where, when you get into meditation and the power of prayer and some of those things, a lot of times gurus or priests or people, they'll tell you, keep that stuff private, because it really is between you and your God. You don't want anybody to submarine your wants, wishes, and desires. That's your personal belief. And that's your power, and you hold on to your dreams. Dream big, hold on to your dreams, and dream big, and don't ever allow, if your dream is to go to Hollywood and be an actor, go to Hollywood and be an actor. If your dream is to be whatever, but dream big for yourself as a captain and the skipper of your ship, and hold on to your dreams, and don't let anybody take your dream away, because you're giving your power away. And if you're going to give your power away, there will always be somebody out there that will take it, and you can't do that. Don't do that.
Absolutely. And I want to add one thing. Daniel talked about, keeping things private and all that. Well, we are going into a time where I call getting naked. Now, we're going in a time where we're changing. We'll be able to. Nobody will be able to hide anything that's inside themselves. So we got to keep practicing to become vulnerable to everybody and to share our personal things with everybody in a safe place. Right now, it's going to be a safe place, maybe small groups, because the whole world, all humanity is not like that yet. But if you feel safe in a group, then you can, because we're all here to help each other, and everybody's heart pouring out to one person that's feeling distraught helps them a lot. So I just want to put that in the mix, because we're going into getting naked, okay, guys? That's what I call becoming an open book to everybody. Nobody can hide anything, because ultimately we're going back to our supernatural, natural selves, and that's complete joy, ecstasy, bliss, peace, unity, no judgment. And I just wanted to add that. Is there anything else you want to?
Can I make a confession to you, Elizabeth?
Okay.
One thing that really helped me feel better about myself, and because we're all going through this period of life, right? We're all going through May of 2015, right? And if you're no matter where you're at on the planet, if you've got on this phone call, we all experienced April of 2015. We all experienced March of 2015. We've all experienced February of 2015. We've all experienced January of 2015. We've all experienced the whole year of 2014 together. The whole year of 2013 together. We've all been here before. We've all gone. Elizabeth, you're in Minnesota. I'm in Chicago, right? It's kind of funny, right?
Right.
You're out of state. Do you know that? Isn't that kind of funny? You're out of state, Elizabeth, right?
Mhm.
You're out of state, even though we shared all the same experiences. You know that? Isn't that kind of cool?
Mhm. That's another.
We went through all of April 2015 together, and we survived. Do you believe it, Elizabeth?
I believe it.
Can you believe it? Hey, I made it through New Year's Eve 2015 this year. I wasn't in Minnesota, but I survived it. You were in Minnesota. Isn't that amazing? We made it through the experience together, Elizabeth.
Amazing.
Isn't that amazing? We did this together.
Yes, because we are all one.
Yeah,
and the state lines, the state divisions are separating us.
That's just a boundary. That's just a man-made boundary. It's just a
program.
Man-made boundary. Yeah. Conceptually, it's just a boundary. Anybody
they drew to program us to make us think we're more separate is all. So yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't
No,
matter.
I'm just saying that we're talking about unwinding the programming.
I got it. We're not being argumentative. We're just discussing it.
Yeah.
Nothing matters what somebody outside of ourselves did. We are vibrating, and we're manifesting this moment, Elizabeth. You and I are manifesting this moment. Sometime next month, we will have survived another month together on the planet. And the difference of this month and last month to me right now, and you brought something into my universe, and you realize it. You'll realize it more once you brought a Korean woman into my life. Thank you for that. You know that? I didn't even know it. I have some Korean women in my life, but you're about to introduce a new Korean woman into my life. It's kind of amazing when I think about it. This Korean woman that's going to be introduced into my life in the near future, I owe all to you. Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how the power of one, when you think about stuff? See, because I don't blame you for any bad stuff that comes into my life, because any bad stuff that comes into my life, Elizabeth, is my fault, right?
Or responsibility, yeah, and everybody's.
Right. So,
yeah,
right. Like if let's say today, I'm here today. I woke up this morning, and I checked the news today, and I noticed somewhere back east, I can't remember what city, somewhere back east, we're not going to talk about the specifics, somewhere back east today there was a train wreck, right? There was a public transportation train that was excessively going faster than the recommended speed limit on the railroad tracks. It was actually going twice the posted speed limit on the railroad tracks, Elizabeth. Can you believe that? And there was a train wreck. Now, am I sad that there was a train wreck and people lost their lives? Absolutely. It's horrible. It's absolutely a horrible situation. I experienced that situation today only because I saw that on the news. But that same experience, because I wasn't on that train, is completely different experience than the people that were on that train. For the people that were on that train today or earlier today when they were going through that accident, it was one of the most horrific things they probably have ever gone up until the moment of today. But while that accident happened today back east, and it was a horrible thing, there was 500 bazillion other amazing, fantastic things that happen on planet Earth today, and I cannot give that train any of my power. I can give my prayers and forgiveness and my heartfelt thanks to the survivors and the people that were injured and their quick recovery. But as far as giving it any power, I give it zero. Because there's too much goodness in this world, Elizabeth. And once we train our minds to realize the news is horrible, that watching the news or opening up the newspaper, it's literally like standing in a little tiny swimming pool, okay? You know those little tiny wading pools, Elizabeth? It's like standing in one of those swimming pools, okay, and there's snakes in the swimming pool, okay? Some of the snakes are garter snakes, and then some of the snakes are rattlesnakes, okay? Opening up a newspaper, getting these stories, and having this stuff enter into our universe, it's like getting into a little swimming pool, and you're stepping around on a bunch of snakes. Some snakes are poisonous, are going to bite you, and they're going to make you sick or affect you, and other snakes are harmless. I don't want to step into a swimming pool of any snakes. I don't want any information polluting my mind. I control it all. I control it all as the captain, as the skipper of my life. I allow things to affect me in the moment, every moment of my life.
Well, Daniel, you just hit on a couple points. All the call was good, but these last 2 points, what I call bullseye points. Absolutely, that's great.
Well, that's eventually our ship gets to our target, Elizabeth. So eventually we get there. So what else you want to talk about tonight, Elizabeth?
Well, I think this is good for tonight, and we'll come back another time. How's that? I want you to sit.
I think that's good. I think that's a good way to end the moment. You know, we're all in the moment, Elizabeth. Let's just vibrate in the prayer of one. Stay in the moment. You know, give that to our cheers. So let's end this recording with the little. Let's end this with.
I don't like to say goodbye because we're never anybody. We're not. No. Let me just finish. I'm just making a point for the audience. I don't like to say the word goodbye when you hang up from the phone. So let's think of a word, Daniel, and what's a good word to replace with goodbye? Until next time.
But before we go there, before we even do that, I'm not ready to. I got a couple more things to say.
Okay.
I don't say goodbye. I don't see any of those things. I'm just saying, before we end this recording of this session that we're doing for humanity and before you end it, before we end this recording, the secret to living in joy and faking it until you feel and be in that moment. You, captain of your ship, Elizabeth, you create your future. You create it every second of your day. So as we end the recording, we're not saying goodbye. As we end this session of the diamonds, remember that in prayer. You, Captain, control everything. How do you want to receive it?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And when we hang up, just stay tuned, Daniel, okay?
Yeah.
And what I always say to go with Daniel is be who you really are. Your supernatural, natural self. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And roar, like the lion, and take dominion of your universe, your captain, your ship, because you're captain, right? And B13, Christ consciousness. Anyway, so have a great day. Say bye. Don't say bye. Right? We're not saying that. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to Elizabeth. I talk to myself a lot, being goofy.